Welcome to the Bros Before Elbows podcast, where your two bros, Anthony
and Tommy Masano,
bring you the fans' perspective with recaps, rumors, predictions, all the way from PHX to PDX, always from the top rope and always putting bros before elbows.
Very nice, man. It sounds professional. I want you to talk in the Macho Man voice. Try to do that for the next 60 minutes. That'd be an impressive feat.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that'd be really hard. My voice would hurt really, really bad.
Oh, man. Snap it to a Slim Jim.
All those meat byproducts, whatever's left over on the floor in the factory.
Just sweep it all in there and like mount it into a stick and then put Macho Man in your commercial and you're gold.
That's all you need, man.
That's really all you need. So what's going on, man? Did you see Raw this week and everything?
I saw most of it. I fell asleep. I was watching it till like 2 a.m, and I got to where Paul Heyman came out. Did he have a little scooter or something?
Yes, he did have a scooter.
It was pretty funny because he would inch forward and then he'd stop and then he'd scoot forward and then he'd stop. So I kind of passed out after that. So I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read the recap here real quick again. And but from my understanding, they're still just Punk and Bryan.
Yeah, they're Punkin' Bryan, which actually leads us to our question of the day. It was a very smooth transition for you. So question of the day, every Bros Before Elbows podcast, we pose a question at the beginning of the show, and then we'll answer it back during the last like 5 or 10 minutes of it. So question of the day, you've seen that movie like Freaky Friday, haven't you? Remember that old kids movie, and then they redid it a million times? You saw that movie Freaky Friday, right?
Freaky Friday. That was the, wasn't that with, what's-her-face? Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis is when like the mom and the teenage daughter argue and they learn a lesson. It's like a Disney movie where you learn a lesson because they wake up in the morning and they argue the night before and they wake up in each other's bodies. So Freaky Friday scenario for one weekend and one weekend only. Would you rather be Daniel Bryan or you rather be CM Punk? Cool beard, cool tats, or maybe you hate tats and maybe you hate itchy facial hair. So question of the day, would you rather be Daniel Bryan or CM Punk for a weekend? And we'll come back to that roundabout and answer that question towards the end of this episode.
That's extremely interesting. I'm gonna have to ponder on that one.
Yeah, ponder on that. So Raw this week, I think it was from Chicago actually, the Midwest, so home of CM Punk. But it opened with Triple H, and basically, I think everyone was on the rampway or something. Was that it? Was that this week?
It was RVD, R-Truth, Zack Ryder, who actually made an appearance.
Yes,
that's quite funny. He was there. Who else was there? We had
Justin Gabriel, the South African.
That's right. So all the people that came out to support Daniel Bryan. And Triple H was trying to get under their skin a little bit and trying to figure out, like, why are you guys trying to fight for this dude? Shouldn't you be fighting for the WWE Championship? Shouldn't you be putting yourself in position instead of supporting this guy? Like, it was kind of a funny spin on that.
He was totally doing backhanded compliments. It's like, you guys could be the face of the company. You, Miz, you, Zack Ryder, you could have been the face of the company if you set your goals and strive to be the best for business. So that kind of set up everything. The main event of Raw was a Shield versus Daniel Bryan handicap match, and then it was like a 11-on-3 handicap match.
How did that wind up working out? Because I did miss it, and I feel bad that I missed it. But
it was actually pretty cool because it made the Shield look good, and it was everyone on the stage, so it was 11-on-3. So plus Daniel Bryan, so that was total 11. So it was Primetime's players, Usos, Justin Gabriel, Zack Ryder, Dolph Ziggler. No Miz because
he's a jerk.
He's a jerk. No, because he'll get knocked out later in the episode. But it was just basically a handicap match, and every time someone got eliminated, it got a little more intense for like the Shield and stuff. But it was actually pretty cool how they ended up doing that.
Who wound up winning the match, or how was the angle at the end?
The angle at the end. Well, first, who was in there first? I think it was Dean Ambrose and someone. Let me go down to the recap. We're looking at the recap from CageSideSeats.com because they do a really good. They do like live blog for it.
What I thought was pretty interesting with the handicap is each of the wrestlers. It seems like each of the wrestlers had a match in which they had to fight. For example, it was like RVD versus somebody. And then he got
Orton. It was Orton. Yeah, that was like the kind of like the trick to it. That was like the little like sleight of hand from Triple H is that they booked a bunch of people in matches before. Oh, Kofi was in it.
That's right.
Kofi faces Alberto Del Rio, and he got his arm really messed up. RVD faced Randy Orton and got totally like beat down with like a chair and against the barricade and stuff. And I think no, I don't think Ziggler got hurt, but anyway, those Kofi and RVD were the first two guys eliminated because they were injured from previous matches. And then Reigns came in. Roman Reigns, he came in. He just started eliminating a bunch of people. He just took out like three people in the row. He took out Titus O'Neil, and it was like cool. Titus O'Neil and Roman Reigns like circling each other, and they locked up. And those two guys are like huge big dudes. But he got eliminated with a spear. Then Justin Gabriel came in, got a cute little kicks in. Then he got speared. He got eliminated. And then Zack Ryder came in, and he was beating on Roman Reigns. And then he went for like the boot in the corner where he like does like the broski boot. And he went to do that. And right when he's about to hit the thing, Reigns gets up and just spears the crap out of him. So you thought Ryder was gonna get his big like Raw moment, and this got swept under the rug. So Reigns eliminated him, and then I think Reigns got eliminated.
So this is like a total build for the Shield then. I mean, if these dudes are able to punk each of these guys, that just makes them even look that much stronger.
Yeah, it took both of the Usos and Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan came in after Ryder got eliminated, and he started just like knocking everyone out. He knocked both the Shield guys off the mat, and he hit a flying knee on Reigns, and then the Usos tagged in the Usos, and they did like the splash on Reigns. So Reigns was out. Then it was Ambrose and Rollins versus I think it was 5-on-2. And then Ziggler snuck in and zigzagged on Ambrose. So Ambrose was out. So then it was 5-on-1 with Rollins versus everyone. But then Rollins eliminated Darren Young. So then it was just Bryan, Ziggler, and the Usos. And I think they cleared house. They pinned Rollins. And I think the show just ended with all the Shield members out of there and Bryan just in the middle of the ring doing his yes chants. So it kind of closed like... They're kind of turning it around for Night of Champions. They're kind of like letting Bryan close out Raw instead of being laid out by Randy Orton in the Shield. He's won the last 2 weeks, which is kind of interesting.
We'll go to a quick commercial break.
Did you see Miz TV on Raw this week?
I did. Miz was trying to do something where he was like super stern, super upset. He tried to act tough, and then he got laid out, right? Big Show knocked him out.
Yeah, Stephanie came out, and then I think Miz was trying to tell Big Show to like stand up for himself, and he's kind of talking down to Big Show, which is like, dude, you're Miz, and you're talking to Big Show, like. What? Like,
dude,
no?
Big Show's just doing all this dirty bidding, dude.
It's because I guess he's like poor, and Stephanie said he's gonna die soon because he's tall and he's a bad father because he's on the road all the time. She was just like, dude, like I know it's like the reality era, but like what's true and what's not, man? It's like Big Show really poor. Like how could he be poor? He's been to the WF for like the last 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of a weird storyline. Unless they show pictures of him like gambling.
Yeah.
Or like blowing his money on stupid stuff, that would make a lot more sense. But just to say you're poor is kind of like I guess like it's kind of a weak statement. I don't know. I'm not buying that.
I would picture him gambling, like just buying a bunch of scratchers and just scratching it off, and like have like a montage on Raw of him like scratching off a bunch of scratchers or buying like lottery tickets and being like mad about it. Oh, I never win these.
I blew all my money on this scratcher tickets.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess he's kind of veering off from like the Bryan. He's this Bryan storyline, so maybe I don't know if is he gonna turn heel or is he just gonna stand up for himself? I mean,
I think it kind of sets him up where I think eventually he's gonna stand up for himself, and I think it's gonna be. I could see something with like him versus like Roman Reigns. I could predict something like that. You know, where he's standing up to Stephanie McMahon, he's standing up to Triple H, and then finally Triple H will probably say, fine, you know what? You know, like, you need to prove yourself, or you need to quit being a punk or something, and basically to get out of what we're manipulating you to do, you need to take out our best guy, you know what I mean, which is the big dude. That could be cool. I could see that as like a pay-per-view event. Big Show's redeeming himself, or Big Show's getting out of the bad situation that he's in.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, you sparked a question. The Shield, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins. Who do you think's going to be like the breakout star? Who's going to be the Shawn Michaels? Who's going to end up having to be the Marty Jannetty in this Rockers to Shield? Shield's one guy's going to get one of the members of Shield. I mean, the odds are one of them's not going to make it. So maybe two of them make it. Maybe one of them becomes a big star. But who do you think, if you had to place your bet, your Big Show bet with Big Show money? Who do you have a bet on? Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, or Dean Ambrose? Who do you think is going to be the breakout star from the Shield?
Dean Ambrose.
Really, man. Everyone says Dean Ambrose just because he's so cool on the mic, dude, and he's got that.
He's like the perfect villain, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. That was my favorite. And then like Seth Rollins really works good in the ring, dude. He like bumps like Ziggler, and he's super fast, and he can do like high flying moves. And then Reigns, dude, he was kind of like the underdog. Not just because he was kind of like a little more green than the other two. But I kind of think Reigns, man, because it's the way he looks and the way he works. He's just got that look, and he's got the heritage from the Wild Samoans. And I think he's like cousin with the Usos or something.
He is.
Yeah.
Which is there an affiliation with The Rock?
I think so. I think there is some kind of like cousin, friend, lifelong friends or something like that.
Heart
But
Foundation.
They should bring back the Heart Foundation just with Hawaiian people.
Bury this pig in the ground and eat it.
Okay, yeah,
That could be pretty cool. But Roman Reigns to me doesn't really have. He's got the look. He's got the build. His mic
he's
skills.
got the cool moves.
His moves are cool. His moveset's really cool. See, but to me, Ambrose has a cool moveset. He's got a cool finisher, and he's just very unique. Sometimes he's awkward to watch, but other times he's really like, even when he's awkward, he still has like a really like, I don't know.
He's got a good presence. He's got a good presence about him, right?
A really good presence about him, I'd say. Yeah, he's just got a very unique. Yeah, there's something about him. I just can't put my finger on it, but he's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, and one of the great scenes from Raw this week was when Reigns got eliminated by Bryan and the Usos. Was they pan right to Dean Ambrose's face, and he was just doing like this crazy like maniacal like facial expression where it's just like, oh man, it was just so much. It's like the little things in like wrestling, like when guys do like cool facial expressions or cool reactions that like makes like something good, and they can turn it into great just by doing like a little subtle thing like a facial expression like that. And Dean Ambrose is good at doing like the little things like that, I think.
He reminds me of the Heath Ledger Joker.
I thought Sting was the Heath Ledger.
He's just got the face paint. But check this out. If the Shield were to disband or dissolve, there's a good possibility that Seth Rollins could, or Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins. I was thinking Henry Rollins, and I was like, wait a second. All of a sudden, Black Flag appears and kills everybody. And
what a swerve.
That Rollins would go babyface.
I can see him being a good babyface, man. He's got the long hair. I think like chicks probably dig him. I don't know. Maybe take a survey. Any chicks listening, email us or hit us on Twitter if you think Seth Rollins is a babe or something. But yeah, man, I can see him being a babyface. I mean, that'd be cool. Imagine, I think Rollins and Ambrose had good feuds like on the Indies. I think they were in ROH or they had good feuds in like NXT when they were down there. So
speaking of NXT, real quick, Sami Zayn. I'm gonna throw that name out there. El Generico from ROH. This dude, from every time I check up on Cage Side, there's always something good being said about this guy. There's always something good being said about Sami Zayn, dude. Like the fact that he's got amazing presence. People love him. He did a dark match, I think, at one of the Raw events or a SmackDown event, and got a huge crowd pop. So they're really pushing this dude. So rumor has it that he may be coming up the ranks and might be making a WWE appearance.
That would be cool, man. That'd be cool if he came out like when Los Matadors debuts and just just brain busters both of them and takes their mask. I don't know, like it'd be stupid for WWE to build up like Los Matadors for like a month and then have Sami Zayn just like destroy
him.
all their work, and he comes back as El Generico the next week. But man, yeah, I was like really worried when like I saw that they made him change his name and like they took off his mask and now he's just like a bearded Canadian dude. But yeah, man, he's just like he's El Canadian old white Canadian dude now. But man, yeah, I'm excited. Did you see the match where he did like a best 2 out of 3 falls of Antonio Cesaro in NXT?
I saw one of the matches where he fought Antonio Cesaro, and it was a great match. Two ROH dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Yeah,
intense,
man.
man.
Yeah, I just think he's got so much potential, man. I just want to. I'm just curious to see what he does like on the mic and who they pair him with when he comes up to the main roster.
What's interesting is, and it's kind of a weird transition now, but a good transition because now WWE has this developmental facility, their performance center. So it is going to be really tough for. I mean, it's going to be really tough for other independent WWE, or it's going to be other independent wrestlers from other promotions to be put into WWE. So I have a feeling that Sami Zayn, in if they take anybody else from ROH, might be the last of their generation. You know what I mean? They might be the last pickings because now WWE has Performance Center, so they can just organically grow and develop these dudes. You know, they can be taught right away how to work the camera angles. They can be taught right away how to hit commercial break moves. You know, they can be taught right away how to please the WWE crowd versus almost being retrained if you were in ROH where you really only have 1 or 2 camera angles. You know what I mean? You don't have a lot of production. So I think it's interesting. I think these dudes, you know, like the Cesaros, the Seth Rollins, the Ambrose, CM Punk,
Daniel
Bryan, Sami Zayn. I mean, these dudes are, I think, are kind of the last of their kind coming from a mid promotion, you know?
Yeah, I think the big thing of like the big talking point from like Triple H and people in WWE is they open the training center so they could like reteach these guys and like break them of their bad habits they learned on like the indie scene. So they want them to like teach them the WWE style of wrestling and the WWE style of the mic work and how to train. I guess like the performance center is like 7 rings. There's like a big weight room in there, and there's like a camera with like HD like film and video, so you can record a promo and then watch it back in like real time. And it's just crazy, man. I just heard it's like intense, man. It's like I don't know how much money it costs the WWE, but
Pennies
it's
on the dollar.
yeah, right. It's a long-term investment, man. But yeah, it could be the last of the kind because if you're going to come from the ROH or Pro Wrestling Guerrilla or Dragon Gate or something like that, you're going to go to the Performance Center. You're not going to be able to go directly right to the main show as quickly, I think, because they were going to want to retrain you and they're going to like teach you how to do things the WWE way. So it's good and bad. I mean, I guess it's good in long term, but
it's good because it gives them more control over their talent, but I think it's bad because if you follow certain wrestlers in other promotions and you fall in love with their moveset and you fall in love with their gimmick, and then you don't get to see them, you know, in the big leagues. You know what I mean? It's almost like following a college football player, and you know he's only going to play in you know club sports or league sports. You know what I mean? It's like the NFL just wants nothing to do with them.
You're talking about Tim Tebow? Wants nothing to do with him?
Yeah, pretty much. But it's yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, you know, I always think when I watch ROH, or even other promotions, the move sets are so much more unique. You know, they have like this style, and then WWE totally has a kind of a cookie cutter formula. It seems like a cookie cutter move set for most of these dudes. Where it's still like a lot of these dudes can do cooler moves, but they don't.
Yeah,
You know?
it's tough because all the guys in the indie scenes are like smaller, faster. They're more like Punk and Bryan, and less like Ryback and Roman Reigns, and bigger dudes are like kind of slower. It's kind of hard, so they could do a lot more unique stuff, and there's a lot more tag wrestling, and there's more emphasis on the tag teams and on the indie scene too as well. Yeah, it's rough, but I think that's what makes it cool that like CM Punk was able to keep his gimmick all the way from his backyard in the Midwest all the way to ROH to ECW to WWE. I think that's makes it even cooler that he was able to stay true to what he had all the way through, which is gonna be even more rare now that they have the Performance Center and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff.
Well, speaking of CM Punk, he had another huge angle. So it was in Chicago because he came out. You saw it before you passed out from the pain. He came into Chicago. He was wearing a Blackhawks jersey. The Blackhawks just won the NHL Stanley Cup in June. So he's just playing to the crowd, talking about how he's had a rough year because he's lost to The Rock, he's lost to The Undertaker, he's lost to John Cena, he's lost to Brock Lesnar, but he still has
Paul Heyman.
the Paul Heyman at Night of Champions, man. So he's had a rough year, but like Chicago, any good Chicagoan, he'll be able to come back. And of course, Heyman interrupts that. He said he doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because he can walk the earth, knowing that he can beat CM Punk, even though he can't walk because he's in his little scooter. Like that scooter was sitting
gimmick, dude. I love that.
The little scooter's like going all slow, and just like he knew that thing was gonna like break down eventually. It's just like, man. Paul Heyman on the mic, dude, like he gets booed like even before he even like grabs it. He's just got that like that all that heat, and he's just so good at being a heel. It's
at
just
the
awesome
live
to watch.
show when they came to Portland, man. It literally it took him like about 2 to 3 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes before he could even get a word out. You know what I mean? Like everybody hates this guy. I personally love him.
Yeah.
Only because I think when we were growing up watching ECW and seeing this dude, it's almost like you have this connection. It's like you love to hate him, but you just love that he's still so involved with the business.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Just he's keeping that edge, man, and he's another guy who's been true to himself. It's like Paul Heyman. He's playing the Paul Heyman TV character, but man, there's like a little bit of reality in like everything he says and some of the digs he has at CM Punk, and some when him and Triple H are going back and forth when Triple H and Brock Lesnar are feuding. There were some good digs in that too. So he's just original. So
speaking of feuds too, this kind of pops in my mind too. Godderz, the Rhodes family. Could it possibly be maybe the Shield versus the Rhodes family at Battleground? Could that be could that be something that comes up?
Who's gonna be the third? That's 2-on-3-on-2. Who's gonna be the third? Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes gonna come out in the yellow polka dots as a surprise mystery member.
Ooh.
They're gonna put like Big Show in there, like Miz. Or I can't CM Punk. CM Punk's busy with Ryback and Axel. But yeah,
I think it's a different conversation. I don't know about Ryback being a Heyman guy, but we'll sidebar that for a moment.
Okay, sidebar to the Rhodes. Do you see? Oh man, you missed it then. Like, because the Shield, when the Shield was going to attack someone on Monday night, but the Rhodes family, Dusty and Daniel Bryan came out to cut a promo. It says Bryan is crazy to think he was working with Scott Armstrong, the referee who did the fast count. And he says he was going to head to Battleground, and the crowd starts chanting yes. And he said after he beats the Orton for the title, but then the Shield makes their way out. They're going to attack Bryan. And then right when they jump over the barriers, Goldust and Cody Rhodes in street clothes jump them, and then they get taken off by security.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really good, dude, because the way they had the camera, they were just like a normal Shield entrance. They were walking through the crowd, they step over the barrier, and then right when they step over the barrier, just out of nowhere, Goldust and Cody Rhodes just jump them and start kicking their ass. And it was like, whoa, the crowd didn't expect it because they were like had black hoods on and were like dressed in all black, and they just jumped it looked like some fans like just came in and jumped it. And it was just like really weird. It was really cool though, because everyone was like chanting like Cody and Goldust, man. So that was
cool.
Yeah, so they totally beat on the Shield, and they were taken off by security. But that was like a little tease for your prediction of Shield versus the Rhodes brothers at Battleground. I mean, that could be really cool.
You want to be super cool? 2 rings side by side.
2 rings side by side in a War Games match?
That'd be so sweet.
2 cages? I mean, that would be sick, man. But that would be sick. I just don't know who the Rhodes is. I don't know who their other tag team partner is going to be if they do the Battleground thing.
It would be... Don't put Miz in. I don't know.
I think I'm trying to think how I was beefing with the Shield, but no one.
What was
really.
that thing that Stephanie McMahon said? Stephanie was like, "Miz, you're the dude that we send
if a grocery store opens.
If there's a sale on orange juice, you're the dude.
If there's a sale on orange juice in aisle 11, then they'll send the Miz to push that orange juice."
Speaking of Steffi Mac, what do you think of her mic skills, man? She's been consistent.
She's not bad, man. They're not. But she's way better like heel than like face, of course. Like
totally.
like Eddie
Power
McMahon.
trip.
Yeah, power trip. Yeah, one woman power trip. I like her theme music when she comes out. It's like kind of like badass little hip hop, and then yeah, I think she's good, man.
Light it up. Sorry. Light
Generally,
it up.
the least intimidating music. Yeah, man, I like her, man. So you can like be like the bitchy one, and like it's like man, because you can't say anything because it's a girl, and you can't because it's a woman, and you can't say anything because that's like the Vince McMahon's daughter, man. So you really can't say anything. So it's just like she can like really push the dagger like deep into your heart, and you like really can't do anything back. So she's good, man. I like it.
Which she has proved because she called out Big Show. You know, when she first called out Big Show and said, hey, I grew up with this guy. This guy gave me advice growing up. You know, all this other stuff. And then she calls out and just digs into Big Show. And that's when that beef really began. So, yeah, I think she's doing good. She's only going to get better over time. And I'm just glad to see more of the McMahons in WWE. I think it kind of gives it more of like to me, I see this as like a big reboot. You know what I mean? Especially into the reality era.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could definitely see that. I'm a total mark for that, dude. Straight up.
Was it so? Another prediction: when is if Vince McMahon comes back? What side is he going to be on? I mean, he can't really be on the Daniel Bryan side because he was kind of like dissing him before he went off TV, and he I don't know if he's going to be on Triple H side and Stephanie McMahon, like Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and Vince McMahon all on the same team. I don't know, man. That's a lot of power, and that seems like combustible. Like, what are they going to do with Vince McMahon when he comes back? What do you think he's going to do?
If Vince McMahon is with Daniel Bryan, he goes against every grain that he's ever sanded for himself because he's always about the business.
Mm-hmm.
Always is and always will be. So it'd be interesting. And if he does, it would be a mega curveball, and you would have to have damn good reason to support Bryan. You know, the only angle I could see with that is just to stir the pot and just to be against Triple H. So there would have to be some type of angle of Triple H versus Vince McMahon. You know, like it's like Triple H's judgment versus Vince McMahon's judgment. But it'd be tough to pull off because Vince McMahon has even said, you know, time and time again that he's always looking for he's looking for the right body. He's looking for the right build. You know, CM Punk's too small. Bryan's too small. So for him to go with him would almost be there would have to be some wacky mega angle that happens that would make that make sense. Other than that, it would be a complete curveball.
Yeah.
You know, he would almost have to be antagonizing Triple H in the angle would have to be set where Vince McMahon doesn't want to hand over the full control, which I don't think he ever would, but you know,
to
basically
take it from
like
his dead bare hands.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, no, I just don't want to agree with Triple H. So therefore, if he says he wants vanilla, I want chocolate. You know what I mean? Like that's really the only thing I can think of. But I would say if he does side, he's going to side with Triple H because it's the most logical. Just the way that he's presented himself, the way that he's run his business. That's the only thing to me that would make the most logical sense. But it would be a lot of power. You're absolutely right. It would be a very, very heavy weighted side.
It'd be a totally weighted side against Daniel Bryan, dude. Like, okay, you have Miz and Big Show on your side. We have Vince McMahon, The Shield, Randy Orton, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon, dude. Like, it's total different scale.
However,
curveballs. What's the curveball?
Think about this. This could be the perfect angle where you have so much power, but now you bring in the little guy. Now you bring in more of like we're so used to seeing the big dudes, the Rybacks, the big, tall, big, muscular. But this could totally, like, Bryan could be etching out a brand new type of WWE superstar. So imagine this. You have this mega power, right? This mega, we're going to punk every little dude because we can. We have the authority. We can make the matches. We can make any crazy stipulation. We can strip you of your title anytime. But now it's the true underdog story. It's not just the underdog of the character. It's the underdog of the physique.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting to see. Now you can breed an entire new generation of smaller dudes or Bryan-like guys or Punk-like guys to fight the Ortons and win, and fight the Rybacks and win. So now it's like it could be a generation of physique versus physique, which would be really entertaining.
Yeah, if you like dudes' bodies.
I'm just saying, though, going against what Vince McMahon has always been, an advocate for. You know what I mean? You got to have the
definitely,
big,
man. He's
huge,
always been
strong
obsessed.
dudes, So it's like, if you have the little guy, it's almost just David versus Goliath. That classic story.
That's a classic. Yeah, the classic story, man. It goes back to that, man. That's good, man. I think that could work. I'd like to see Punk and Bryan. Like, that'd be cool if Punk and Bryan teamed up versus, like, down the road, teamed up.
Badass tag team.
Right? Wouldn't that be sick?
If you're going to reboot tag teams, those two dudes would dominate.
That'd be sick, man. Dude, the internet would, like, really, like, cream themselves. Or be so happy.
Down.
Dude, everyone's pants would be over their heads swinging them over their heads in joy. Everyone would be pantsless raw. If Bryan and Punk teamed up.
So, what matches do we know of so far with Battleground? We know it's Bryan versus Orton, and we know RVD versus ADR. What else do we got? Or what we know of right now?
That's all we know of right now. I think they're teasing AJ Lee versus Natalya, and Usos versus Shield maybe for the tag. Or I think Primetime Players are the #1 contenders. So other than that, I don't know, man. I haven't really been teasing too much. I don't know when it is. I think it's what's the 29th is on Sunday. I think it's on the 6th or the 13th. There's 2 pay-per-views in October. There's Battleground and Hell in the Cell, plus Bound for Glory for TNA. So that's 3 wrestling pay-per-views in like 4 weeks, which is insane.
Ooh, speaking of TNA, let's segue a little bit here.
How are we doing on time? What are we at in the? What's the?
We have been, and I put the timer here. It's been 21 minutes, but we were speaking for probably about 10, 15 minutes before that. So we'll say, 35 minutes, 40 minutes?
Oh, good. Perfect. Yeah, first half on Raw. So, okay. So did you said, I talked to you on text. Did you end up finishing Impact from this week?
I did not. I'm horrible this week.
But no, you did not miss much on Impact. It was I didn't like it too much. It's very centered on AJ Lee versus like Dixie Carter, which I don't know about you, man. I really can't. It just doesn't do anything for me, man. I mean, I like Dixie as like an owner and stuff, and she's cool when she's like behind the scenes, but on screen and like the main storyline, I just don't think it's working.
It's a lot of forced. Something's happening with. It just seems like they built so much, and now it's kind of like, well, everything's changing, so we need to make some like adjustments, like now. To me, it's a cop out with Aces and Eights. I'm going to talk about Aces and Eights real quick.
Okay.
Aces and Eights, the concept, brilliant. A hijacking motorcycle gang of badasses, cool dudes, D'Lo Brown, Devon, Bully Ray, Ken Anderson, strong. The other jabronis, Nux, meh. Garrett Bischoff.
Oh gosh, not Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe, dude. Those two guys should be jobbers on like WWE Superstars or something. It should not be like in the main storyline.
It's like now what do you do? Like obviously they needed to cut costs. So looking at it at the product from the more I guess of like a managerial perspective, it makes sense to cut Devon. It makes sense to cut Doc. It makes sense to cut Ken Anderson. It makes sense to cut these dudes.
Cutting so many people, dude. There's like no one left.
That's the thing. So now it's like, well, we need to dissolve this. How are we going to dissolve this? Oh yeah, I did it all for Brooke. Are you kidding me? Like Brooke has made literally 2 to maybe 3 appearances with Aces and Eights with Bully Ray, and all of a sudden now you're gonna say that it was all for her. That's just like the cheapest, cheesiest, most. It's just a cop out. It's like there was nothing else creative to say or do to dissolve Aces and Eights. So you're gonna make some chick be
The fall girl.
The fall girl. You know what I mean? It's like, are you kidding me? Like they had to do something with Brooke, because obviously, Brooke Hogan got married, and that really screwed everything up, because I really thought that was a cool storyline. And I'm not going to say...
They could have played the cards right. They could have, no pun intended. They could have played their cards right if,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, if they had like Hogan, if they turned like Brooke Hogan like heel on her dad, and then they could have dragged it out a little bit more. But think of Aces and Eights. I agree with you. They came out strong. I liked them until they took off their masks, really, almost, because they were kind of cool, because they kept showing like the vignettes of them in their clubhouse, and they're like messing with TNA Impact, and it's like, oh, these guys are interesting. Like, who's going to be in the group? And then like they kept revealing people, and like it kept getting like more disappointing the more people they revealed. They didn't have, it was a good concept, they just didn't have the horses to make it work. And then like last year at Bound for Glory, I remember people Bound for Glory was here in Phoenix, so I went to it, and the big reveal was part of Aces and Eights. It's like, really, like, I mean, it was a nice little reveal, but like, remember people were talking, like fans in the crowd and people online were talking about ending in Aces and Eights back then, and now we're flash forward a year later, and we're still having Aces and Eights storylines like being the main thing on Impact, man. They're still like, it's just like, man, it just should have died a long time ago, I felt. And now that Ken Anderson's could be out of TNA, Devon's out of TNA, D'Lo's out of TNA, like all these guys are out of TNA. Brother Love, Bruce Pritchard. Oh gosh. That Brother Love face gives me nightmares. It's just like, it's weird. So they didn't really know how to tie this all together, and they're just like, it's just ending in a car crash right now. But at least it's going to be gone. That's the only thing. And so a big thing on Impact on Thursday was Wes Briscoe actually got kicked out of Aces and Eights. Spoiler.
What? Are you serious?
Don't tell me you're a Wes Briscoe fan,
Briscoe,
dude. Come on.
Kid. No, I think he's a goofball. His face looks stupid. I want to punch him in the face. And I would feel so much more confident about him had they actually booked this dude more matches than one.
He was always in a tag, and if he did do a match, it was always like a tag with
Dude, the only match I can think
Garrett.
that he was ever in was his gut check match.
Oh man, that was like, seems like
That was
2
like
years
10
ago.
years ago, dude. It was...
Yeah, literally like 10 years ago, man. It's when he had short hair. But man, yeah. So the stipulation was Bully Ray came out, and he was pissed at Aces and Eights for calling Brooke Tessmacher a hoe last week, because they said the first rule of Aces and Eights was bros before hoes. I was like, what?
Bros before elbows.
What if they said that? Like, we totally mark out right there. Like, we're totally involved in
What a push.
What a plug, man. Check us out on SoundCloud. But yeah, so the stipulation was they were going to fight Aces and Eights, Nux, or the big guy whoever's left, Nux, Garrett Bischoff, and Briscoe were going to fight Main Event Mafia, Sting, Samoa Joe, and Magnus. And if they won, they got to stay in the group, and whoever got pinned had to get kicked out of the group. So, spoiler alert, Wes Briscoe got choked out by Samoa Joe, which was awesome.
Yes.
So I thought it was so sweet. Got him in the rear naked choker, and then you're like, oh, Wes Briscoe is like right in the center of the ring, and he just tapped out like a Wes Briscoe basically. So he was out. So it was a big awkward scene. Bully Ray came down in the ring, and he was like telling Bischoff and Nux to take his cut, or I don't know, his leather vest or whatever.
His piece, man. Is his cut. It's exactly it.
I don't watch Sons of Anarchy, dude. Do you watch that show?
I love that show, dude.
I heard it's really good, man. I never watched it.
Dude,
that and Breaking Bad is two things I've never watched an episode of.
It's so good. In fact, actually, for Halloween, spoiler alert, I'm gonna be a son. Dude, I'm gonna be a son of anarchy.
Dude, someone's gonna think you're from Aces and Eights. You know, some drunk guy.
Hey, I should get an Aces and Eights cut.
Totally ruined your Sons of Anarchy.
Oh man,
biker. But anyway, yeah. So, I completely lost my train.
So Briscoe's out. So
Briscoe's out.
So Bully Ray comes out and punks Briscoe. So then what? What does Garrett say? What does Garrett do? What does Nux
He's like,
do?
no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to. He looks at him. He's like, I don't want to do it. So Bully Ray bully bombs him, clotheslines him, and he says, okay, now you guys do it, or I'm going to do that to you next. So they eventually take off his cut, and yeah, I think they went to commercial break after that. So Wes Briscoe's out. So
now it's just Garrett Bischoff and Nux
and Bully Ray and Brooke Tessmacher.
This is the crappiest club ever. It's terrible.
It's horrible. Yeah, they don't even ride on bikes anymore. They don't drink beer anymore. This club is just like depressing now. It's like
just give them a
like
juice box.
It's like an Alcohol Anonymous club, man. It's not fun
I
anymore.
used to be cool.
Yeah. Man. So the Aces and Eights look like coming back. Yeah. So it looks like they're done. What else happened? Oh, Robbie E and Jessie Godderz versus Joseph Park, Eric Young, and ODB and Gail Kim.
I dig. I dig.
It was a pretty good match. Before the match, it did like a little vignette in the back where Joseph Park was like shaving with like a straight razor or like one of those like crappy like little like dollar store razors, and like Eric was like, "No, don't do it, man. You know what happens when you bleed." He's like, "Oh, what? No, these razors are fine. They're a good deal. I got them like in a 20 pack or something." So that was like the little vignette. So it was Joseph Parks and Eric Young and ODB versus Gail Kim and the Bromans. And yeah, so that match was pretty straightforward. And ODB did the splash on Jessie, which was pretty cool. So they won. And then Austin Aries came out. So Austin Aries played a big part of this impact. You a fan of Austin Aries?
I love Austin Aries, dude. I love that guy, man.
He would fit in very nicely in WWE right now, right?
He would,
but
he definitely would. Actually, tell you the truth, man, that'd be actually really cool to see him there. However, he's really strong in TNA. Every time he comes out, people love him, and people really get a rise for him.
Yeah, I think he's one of their main players. So he came out and he was just like being a face, and then Kenny King. Remember Kenny King?
Kenny King.
Kenny, what that was? That should be his theme music.
Didn't he get busted open? What was the match?
Yeah, dude, it totally got busted up. It was weird, man. Like he was like, he came in, he interrupted Austin Aries, said, "Hey, man, you made me lose the X Division title when you were dressed up in the suicide costume." So he's mad about that. And so Aries starts like, he calls out a ref and says, "Hey, man, let's do a match right now." And Kenny's like, "No." So then Aries runs down the ramp, starts beating on Kenny King, and then like somewhere between Kenny King getting his shirt ripped off and getting punched by Aries, he like started bleeding, dude. It was like a big cut, dude. It was like on his forehead, and he was just like blood everywhere, man. It was just like that should be like saved for pay-per-view. It was such like a good cut. But so they had a little match, and it was pretty good, man. Dang. Kenny King and Austin Aries, they had a nice little back and forth match, but Aries finished him off with the brainbuster. So
love that move.
It was cool, man. I like it, but I was thinking about it when I was watching, like, how is he supposed to do that like on bigger dudes? Like I guess he doesn't really have to worry about that in TNA, but I wish he had like a strong like secondary move too. I mean, he's got the submission, but
yeah, I was gonna say his last chancery would definitely be the best, like wearing somebody down, but it could also be a good angle too, good storytell. You know, like could he get somebody up for a brain buster, and if he does, he has to do it really quick, or he'd have to set him up for, if it's a big dude, maybe gets him on the top rope, climbs up to the second rope, and like uses leverage that way or something to get cool. Bigger dudes down.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I actually like to see that. There's no like big dudes in unless he has a feud with Nux. No?
Nux is his mic skills can get better, but he's only spoke like 3 times now. But I can see him being a power player. I could definitely see him.
I'd like to see Samoa Joe and Austin Aries like have a feud.
Ooh.
Have they had a feud yet? I don't.
No, not really. I'm
That'd be
sure they
pretty
did in
cool.
ROH days, but you know.
Yeah. So if you're an Austin Aries fan, he wasn't done yet. So he's walking back to the hall and he bumps into Chris Sabin, Velvet Sky, which Chris Sabin's like weird, man, because now he's like kind of like acting like all heelish. And he's kind of like being like basically being a dick for some reason. I don't know why. so they had like a few words in between and saying, "Hey," I don't know. They were just cracking on each other, just like who's like the best X Division champ. Oh, Sabin said, "Hey, sorry I had to show you up because when I won the championship from Bully Ray, it was better than when you beat Bobby Roode for it." So I was like, so it was kind of like a weird. Yeah, it was like it wasn't a good burn. It was like an Indian burn, but so it wasn't. But that set up something for later in the night because Chris Sabin had a match with Mannix for the X Division title later in the night. So
who wound up winning that match?
I think Mannix definitely won. And Chris Sabin did this thing because he has like bad knees and he like blew out his knees and stuff. He did like where he faked an injury and he threw Velvet Sky at Mannix. It was like, whoa, that was kind of an asshole move, but
heel move.
Yeah, heel move, but it doesn't even say it. I forgot how Mannix like got a roll up or something, and Saban lost. And Austin Aries came, so Saban started beating him down after the match, and Austin Aries came out to protect Manic. So I guess the next feud is Austin Aries and Chris Sabin. So that could be good. I mean, they get to go in the ring, but I don't know. I mean, I kind of like Sabin better as a face and Austin better as a heel, but they're switched in this feud. So I can see where it goes.
No, you got to do something with the limited roster that they've got.
Oh my gosh, yeah, limited. But
I heard
guess
somewhere that they're doing they're going back to a fixed location.
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard It seems like every time you like think of TNA, you always have to think of stuff that's going on behind the scenes, like with their roster, or like how much money they're losing, or their TV ratings, or their attendance. But yeah, I guess every time they go to a venue or go to do a tape these two shows, it costs like $60,000, which, man, that seems like a lot of money. And they're not making it back with attendance and stuff. And I guess they're front. I don't think Spike TV's paying for any of it. So I guess they want to go back to a fixed location, either in California, like in Los Angeles, or back to somewhere in Florida, like Orlando. So, which, I mean, I wanted them to go on the road, but I thought that was a great idea because I wanted to see better live crowds. But then when they did it in practice, it's like it's costing them a lot of money. They have to cut a lot of guys for it to save money. So it's like pick your poison. Do you want like a good roster and like a dull location, or do you want like a really really tight roster going to place? So it's like, I don't know, pick your poison.
Yeah, that's true. And if they keep doing this on the road thing, it's gonna burn a lot of people out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like if you have the limited roster, what happens if somebody really gets injured and can't do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus like, well, if we have a fixed location and charge for tickets and, start generating revenue that way, at least you can build more of, yeah, you can just do more with it. You get more money, you get more people, you have more options.
More bang for your buck.
Yeah, think about it. Plus, also, too, with WWE Developmental, if they're not picking up people from indies, this is just a shoot in the dark, but if they don't wind up doing that, where else do these guys go? Beyond, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla or beyond, ROH or beyond any other promotion. Like, where do these guys go? TNA, to me, has that kind of, I don't want to say amateur, but they definitely have that better than indie promotion.
Yeah, it's definitely one step up. I mean, every week you're on Spike TV and they do pay-per-views. So I mean, that's a step above ROH, which is don't even do. I don't think they even do pay-per-views anymore. Yeah, and better than other stuff that only have like 500 people come to their biggest events. So I mean, it's a step up. But like the thing is, like if you're like an indie dude, and do you like want to hold out for the WWE like golden ticket, or do you want to try your hand at TNA? It's like, because if you go to TNA, like WWE might not want to sign you anymore because you got like that TNA stank on you. But so it's just like, I don't know, man. It's like a risky, like, what do you want to do, man? If you're Kevin Steen, for example, do you want to hold out for a potential WWE deal down the road, or do you want to try your hand at TNA and maybe take a little step up? It's like, I bet that's what he's thinking about. Like every month, I'm sure people ask him all the time. But it's like, what would you do?
I think, it's a good question.
What would you do? Yeah,
I think you would. The way I would say it would be if you were to go to TNA, I think you can make the potential and the opportunity to be the dude that really spins the company around is a good chance, because it's a lower promotion.
Yeah.
To make a really big impact in that specific spot, I think is a little bit greater versus being in WWE where there's so many people, you almost get diluted. You know what I mean?
You can get lost in the shuffle like super fast. Yeah.
I think one thing just off the top of my head that would really make TNA at least strengthen their product, get rid of freaking Taz. Get rid of that guy on the freaking commentary, It's
he's so bad,
storytelling,
dude.
man. It's storytelling. You know, that's the thing. If you have guys, because their wrestling is strong, man. Their wrestling is strong. It's fun. It's entertaining. So imagine if you had, you know, two commentators, you know, bringing Joey Styles. What the hell is that guy doing?
He's actually wait. I follow him on Twitter through the Bros Before Elbows Twitter account. He actually works for the WWE still, totally behind the scenes. Yeah, oh, man, I want to look him. I want to look it up real quick. But yeah, he's on Twitter. He always tweets about WWE stuff. Like, so I was like, huh. Joey, if I type in Joe, he's the first one that comes up after Samoa Joe and Joel Osteen. Yeah, he says WWE employee, vice president of digital media content. So he's always tweeting. I guess he helps run their website and stuff like that. So, and he lives in Connecticut. So he is fully in the WWE machine right now.
Ah, dang.
But man, yeah, I know, right? I wish he was still doing commentate. But
Jim Ross goes to TNA. What if he makes that jump, dude? What if he does?
Why
What
would
if
he do that, dude? It's such a jump down,
dude?
man.
What if he sticks it to McMahon and says, you know what, dude? F this nonsense. I'm going to TNA. And then that's it, dude. That's the golden ticket. You know, if you pick up JR.
For TNA, but man, that's just like, I don't know. That's just like that's a stale Wonka bar for JR, man. That's such a huge step down, man.
I don't know, dude. I think it would be awesome.
It would be awesome for the fans, and it'd be awesome if you're a TNA watcher every week, but I just don't know if it's awesome for the good old JR one. I think they said JR's holding out for McMahon's to come back to him, so I don't know. Seems like everyone's holding out for WWE right now, and TNA's this. I just can't remember the last good guy TNA signed. That, like, who's the last like big name like free agent they've really signed? Jessie Godderz, like. King Mo, I mean, he hasn't done anything.
What the hell happened with that?
Yeah,
we've seen more of Rampage and Tito Ortiz than we have of King Mo, and that was I thought when that happened that we'd really see some changes where we see this mixed dynamic of this MMA and pro wrestling together. I was really hoping for this hybrid. I was really hoping for this hybrid of a new type of wrestling, but no, it's still.
TNA can't. I don't know. TNA can't like think like 10 steps ahead, dude. Like long term planning that could have been cool. And actually, if you go on King Mo's YouTube channel, he has some like of his matches from Ohio Valley Wrestling that he did like in like May and April. But he's got a match coming up in November for Bellator for MMA. So I know he's focused on MMA right now, but he looked all right in the ring, but he's only did like 3 or 4 matches. But so hopefully maybe in the new year after he's done with MMA, maybe they can bring him in. But yeah, it's still hard to think of what TNA's done as far as talent. They haven't really brought in anyone new in a while, and that's kind of it's a bad sign, man. It's a bad sign.
I wish him the best. I hope they can do something spectacular, and I wish him the best. I really do. I really like their product. It's rough. It's rough to see him go through this wacky transition. Speaking of transitions, too, with TNA, Hulk Hogan, what the hell is Hostomania? And is this dude going to make the jump to WWE? And if so, what's going to happen?
That's a lot of questions, man. That's a good way to close out the episode, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like October 1st, I heard is when his contract runs out. And they still haven't re-signed him to a deal.
Get rid of him.
Yeah, I think so, man. Like he's been there 2 or 3 years, or 3 or 4 years, and like the practice hasn't done anything. Like one of his big ideas, I remember, like all his big ideas were. One of his big ideas, I wasn't even watching wrestling back then, was to have TNA move to Monday nights and go head to head with Raw.
Terrible.
That was a terrible idea. they just got their ass like kicked so horribly that they went back to Thursdays. Another one of his brilliant ideas was to go live every week. Not go live, but to go on the road every week, and that's ended up costing them a lot of money. And there's a third thing that it was his idea that I don't know what else it was.
Making him the center of attention to every show. God, get out of there.
I know, dude. He like doesn't add. I mean. I think I've been back on the forth in this because like every time like Hogan like goes out there He goes to like a live event, like the crowd loves him, the crowd eats him up. Like when they go to UK, the UK loves him over there, and like they're just respecting the legend and what he did like in the 80s and the 90s. They're not really respecting the man. They're just giving like a courtesy claps kind of thing and courtesy pops, because not the stuff he's doing now, but the stuff he did like in the 80s with the early WrestleManias and the 90s with the NWO. So I mean, he adds that live element, but I mean, if they got rid of him, just like pull the Band-Aid off, man, and just I think they need to break free from him. I agree, but I think he'd be good if going back to the WWE and did like appearances now and again. But I mean, because they're promoting him, he's in the new WWE 2K14 game, and like they're putting his matches on YouTube and stuff. So I don't know, maybe WWE has something up their sleeve.
They could.
They work him back into they could either like work him back into WrestleMania, because WrestleMania 30, or they could even, like, if he wants to, like, work back into like the corporation angle somehow. I mean, would he come back a heel or come back a face? I don't know. That would be. I mean, I'm sure the WWE writers are like a lot more advanced than what TNA has, so maybe they can give Hogan a good spin. And he wouldn't be like as active on WWE TV as he is on TNA TV, because yeah.
Well,
so I don't know.
We'll see what happens, but let's finish this up with the answer to the question of the day.
The question of the day. Do you need like a little like sound effect thing, like
whoop whoop whoop? Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's all I can think of.
Question of the day. So, question of the day: Freaky Friday scenario. If you had your choice for one weekend, who would you be? You transported. You go to sleep as yourself, and you wake up as either A, Daniel Bryan, or B, CM Punk for a weekend. What would you pick?
Dang.
All right, it's tough, man. Like, you want to be like, because is Punk a vegan too? Does he eat clean like that? That's pretty sure, right? He's not straight edge, so.
I don't think that means he doesn't eat meat, but to tell you the truth, I think it would be more fun to be Punk, simply because he is who he is inside the ring and outside the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So I think being able to take that dynamic outside of the product would be really fun. So for a weekend, being Punk, and just being Punk, being witty, being smart, being just kind of just this cool hard cat. You know what I mean? Like I would definitely want to be Punk.
Yeah, I was thinking I'd go back and forth. I don't know, Daniel Bryan. You saw Daniel Bryan propose to Brie Bella, right? And she said yes. So
that's crazy.
That's crazy, right? So if you're Bryan, you get to hang out with the Bella, and if you're Punk, I think he was like dating like Lita or something last time I saw.
Oh, dang.
And then like there's another thing on Cage I See where he was at like a baseball game with AJ Lee. So it's like, dude, what's up with this Punk guy?
Could have just been a casual game, you know? It's just like, hey man, I got 2 tickets, let's go. You know, there you go.
Oh man.
But that's the thing, dude. He can play the field. Punk can do whatever he wants, you know?
He always gets mad on people on Twitter though, man. He gets pretty feisty he gets pretty grumpy on Twitter.
Yeah, he's a pretty grumpy dude I hear in real life, so you know that's just Punk though, you know what I mean? Yo, Jack, what do you think? We have a special guest in the
studio audience.
Here we go. Yeah, exactly. So Jack, you've been a fly on the wall this whole time. What do you think? If you could be Daniel Bryan or CM Punk for a weekend, who would you be?
You know, it is a tough question. I think both guys have great things in and out of the ring, but I think I'd go with Daniel Bryan. You know, I know both you guys, and the facial hair doesn't come as naturally to you two
oh man,
as it would to someone like myself. And seeing a guy rock a beard like that, you know, mine doesn't get as hardy. I would call it hardy. But you know, I would love to have that for a weekend. You know, store some stuff in there. And you know, Brie Bella, not a bad person to hang out with.
Yeah, easy on the eyes. Yeah, man. I think. Yeah, man. Yeah, good. Because I think I'm gonna go with Punk too. I don't know why. I don't know. He just seems like. I don't know. He just seems like I don't have any tattoos, so maybe it's the tattoo thing, man. Because he's got all those cool, like crazy tattoos. He got the little Pepsi logo, and I don't know, man. I don't have any tattoos, so maybe I'd go with Punk just to see like. I rock some tank tops so I could show off the tattoos.
Nice.
For a weekend. I go everywhere shirtless if I was CM Punk. Go to the grocery
the
store.
other thing is Daniel Bryan doesn't have that big following that Punk has. So
that's true. Yeah.
Go unnoticed for a whole weekend, yet live the great life.
It's very true.
So, any final words? Any final thoughts for episode 2.0, the Bros Before Elbows podcast?
No, just check us out on Twitter. The Twitter handle is at brosb4elbows. Of course, you can check us out on SoundCloud. We'll have this up on the SoundCloud website. I don't know if we have a Facebook yet, or if we have.
It's been 2 weeks and we still have not.
Work in progress.
Company business. Yeah, still work on that. Well, we'll also post it on Cage Side Seats. I posted the last episode on there, so I'll post it up again. So we got a couple comments. And Gino, the guy who runs the site, also listened to it too. So he said he liked it. So
nice, awesome. So we'll give a shout out. Cage Side Seats, excellent website to check out for really all types of news on WWE, TNA. There's even an ROH page, some indie pages. So excellent articles. I'm a big fan of the tournaments that they do. I'm a big fan of just everything that they have. So check it out if you're looking for rumors, recaps, predictions, a bunch of stuff that we talk about here on the show. Definitely check out Cage Side. Those guys are really cool, and they make definitely have some cool articles on there.
Agree, man. So I guess have a good weekend, guys, and enjoy Portland. I'll enjoy Phoenix, and we'll come again together again.
Absolutely. Till next time, team.
Adios.
Bros before elbows. I hear voices in my head.